So hi, on the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
We're back with the Throwback Thursday, recorded on a Thursday, put out on a Monday.
Yup. We're so back. Let's hope it stays this way, because I don't want to say anything, but we were going a little crazy with that last one. Like, we reviewed a whole discography in like a week, man. That's just a little towing the line a little bit.
It is going to stay this way, where we're doing one a week versus one a day.
Yeah.
But I already looked at our calendar because I scheduled all these out. And I was like, damn, we're already going to have to move a couple because things have changed since I scheduled them out. But that's okay. So we won't be doing Throwback Thursdays on Mondays for much longer, but we will be keeping it to once a week. So it won't be a crazy surprise each time you click on a video and it's a different day we're recording it on.
Which is kind of fun. It's like a little blind item, you know? It's like you open it up and you're like, oh my god, they recorded it on a fucking Saturday? What the hell? Don't you guys have like lives or something?
They also did it in the span of a week while Glory was preparing to go away for 5 weeks.
Well, Glory was already cramming a bunch of shit. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
Yeah, if you want to watch our Don Broco discography dive, it finally finished rolling out.
Don't get me started on that guy.
Yeah, don't get me started. But yeah, it's finally done rolling out, so you can watch that on the channel. Now we're diving into Motionless In White, starting with their 2010 record Creatures. Yep. Glory got to pick a band that she's so normal about, and then she was like, it's your turn now, buddy pal, you pick one. So I did, and I picked Motionless In White.
Very normal about.
Very normal about Motionless
That you're
In
definitely
White.
not seeing twice this month, back to back.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Why the fuck would you do that?
And we're totally not chatting about that record the same week that I will be going. So,
oh my god,
that's so exciting. We could even, if we want to keep the Throwback Thursday, we could even do it while I'm in the hotel room several hours before I'm going to go see that record in full for the first time.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So then it's current. You have the energy. It's
currently
excitement. Currently current.
Yeah.
And wonderful. And everyone will enjoy
And you can finally get to say that you got me to do something while I'm on vacation and not just you.
It's only fair, honestly. Yeah. Write that. Pen it in. Put it in paper.
Pen it in. So... yeah, I'm a big Motionless In White fan. I have been for several years now. I discovered them when I still had Spotify free and I was getting ads. It was around the time Brand New Numb had released before Disguise came out, and I was like, damn, this is sick. The chorus on this song is dope, and I finally checked them out. And the rest is history, quite frankly. So... you know, Disguise is how I found the band, more specifically Brand New Numb, and I've been a fan ever since. Got to see them pre-COVID. That's how you know that I've been a fan for a while, because I didn't catch a lot of shows pre-COVID. So yeah, I don't know when exactly the first time I ever heard this record was. I just kind of blacked out, and all of a sudden I am a massive Motionless In White fan, and I could chat about all of their records without ever listening to them ever again. But yeah, I like this because it's very much a product of its time, and when I listen to metalcore, I enjoy when the albums are very clearly a product of their time. More so, to be even more specific, I enjoy 2010s metalcore, and this is the antithesis of that.
2010s metalcore, yeah.
I love the way it opens with Immaculate Misconception. I think it really sets the tone for the record, you know, and sets the vibes, because the vibes are obviously they're not as horror tinged as a band like Ice Nine Kills is now, where they're writing you know, songs based off of horror movies. But Motionless In White has always had a spooky edge to them, you know. That's why they fit so well with Halloween, and why I'm not a Halloween guy, but every year I'm seeing them on Halloween for some fucking reason.
Keeps happening.
Yeah, it's just, it's weird. Like when I go back and look at when I've seen Motionless In White, and it always just so happens to be around October. Like it feels like seeing Motionless In White in like April just feels wrong, and I've done that, and it just feels off.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan.
So the fall time is when this band really peaks. But yeah, so I think that really sets the tone for the kind of vibe that you're going to be getting with this record. You know, spooky tinge. We're not going to call it horror, just, you know, like pumpkins and cobwebs and shit like that. Like not scary masks.
Put that on a shirt. Motionless in White. Pumpkins and cobwebs and shit like that. Yeah. That's about it. About it. Yeah. That's it.
I'm a big fan of Abigail. It's one of the big songs on the record. And I think that song is very cool. I believe it's written about the Salem witch trials, which is fucking dope.
Look at you knowing song lore. What the fuck?
Look at
weird.
That. It's not every day. Normally, I don't give a shit about that.
You're like, it was a good song.
I think I just learned that in passing.
That's fucking crazy. Either way.
And I've always liked that because I learned about the Salem witch trials in school, and I thought that they were super interesting and really creepy and super interesting. So I'm like, look at that, a song about that thing that I think is cool, but never really dove past learning it in grade school.
I think it's cool.
That's awesome. City Lights is another favorite of mine, and also a cult classic of the fan base, and was finally bullied them into playing it live on their last full US last fall. And the reason for not playing it is it's a deeply personal song to Chris. So, you know, obviously not something he wants to pull out all the time, relive what he's talking about on the song. But, you know, he did it on that tour. They also did it one of their live streams. But I remember finding the song and being like, I need to hear this live. And it was all like 2011 crunchy ass cell phone videos. And like, for some reason, Yahoo was using YouTube at that time, and Yahoo had a video up too of it. And that was pretty much it. But now, you know, we got modern day technology recordings of City Lights. But I could sit here and name every single song and describe why it's my favorite. I don't know if there's many Motionless in White songs that I don't like. Even the songs that people are like, that's corny. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking dope, isn't it?
Oh my god, this is like your Don Broco.
Yeah, so I fear I'm gonna have nothing but nice things to say, and I also don't have a shitload to add because there are no critiques. It's just I like the fucking record, and it's solely personal. I can't even sit here and be like, try to look at it from an outsider's perspective of why they might not like it. The only reason being it's 2010s metalcore, and it's definitely an acquired taste. And especially if you're going and you're finding the band now and their current form, this is absolutely out of left field, especially with Scoring the End of the World. I think I went backwards in their discography, so it was like I didn't go from Disguise to Creatures. I kind of went backwards, so you get to see the progression that way, because their discography definitely progresses, and you see the progression in each record, where they become a more polished band. So just to go backwards and it becomes slightly less polished is another way that I would recommend doing it. Don't like discover the band with Slaughterhouse and then be like, I'm gonna start with the beginning, because you'll never come back to the band. And Glory did exactly that, because Glory was like,
that is exactly. I was like, dude, why are you calling me out?
Glory was like, dude, we should do Motionless in White. I've been starting to check them out. I dig it. And I'm like, yeah, sure, but you know how these things go. We start with the debut, and I know she wasn't starting with the debut.
No.
So. But that would be my only thing is, you know, it definitely is an acquired taste, especially if you're familiar with the band but haven't went all the way back. But outside of that, I think it's a very impressive debut record. 100%. You know, they had a couple of EPs under their belt at the time, and I also enjoy those EPs, although we're not talking about them. The album, I think it's incredibly solid for for a debut, and honestly holds up even production wise. I think the production is incredibly solid because, you know, they're, again, connoisseur of 2010s metalcore, and there are some records where it is solely the vibes and nothing else.
God awful.
Yeah, and
this was released today.
and this record I feel like captures it all. It's a nice time capsule. I very much enjoy it, and I could sit here and continue to repeat that for as long as you wish.
Yeah. Well, I think what you've said is good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear you repeat it for like the next like what 4 albums, right? It's like, they have like 5, right?
Yeah.
5 albums?
Five
Yeah.
or six.
5 or 6, yeah. So this was my full introduction. I mean, we covered Scoring the End of the World. Scoring of the End of the World. And I thought it was good, but I haven't revisited it in full since we covered it, which
I
was
really haven't either.
2022. Yeah, it was good, and I could say like I could stand by that shit and say no, it's a really solid record. Couldn't tell you, like, aside from like Slaughterhouse and like what, there's like a fireworks song like 4th of July or something.
Oh yeah, Red White Boom,
Red White Boom
with Caleb Shomo on it, which turns out people don't like that song. But
really?
we'll get into that. We'll get into that when we talk about the record several weeks from now.
That sucks so bad. I fucking loved that song. Okay, haters. So this is like my first official like listen through. I've listened through this album. I think this is my 5th time now. I told Shane when it was on my 3rd time. It's been 2 hours since then, so this is my 5th time going through it now. I think how it opens is incredible. And to actually, let me rewind a little bit. I was never into the 2010s metalcore, so this is like a completely new world for me. I don't know like the Breaking Benjamin, Ask Alexandria, like big eras, that type of shit. Ox Burns Red went over my head completely. I just hopped right into whatever was new and current when I got into alternative, which we don't have to get into that.
I pretty much bullied you into being a metal fan.
No, you did. And I was like, okay, cool. That's fucking awesome. I like loud shit. So this is like completely new for me. I understand the appeal, but I don't have the nostalgia for it. But honestly, as a person who didn't grow up or even listen to that when I first got into alternative music, I don't think it needs the nostalgia to keep it current and good. Because this is a insanely solid, full-bodied record. How it opens with Immaculate Misconception is fucking crazy. It grabbed my attention immediately. I think that might be one of their best songs that they've ever written because holy fuck, it's just really good. It fucking clocks you in the mouth, and then it's just like, hey, welcome to the album, by the way. Expect more of this. Expect more of this. I think how it follows up with We Only Come Out at Night is incredible. Definitely has those Halloween spooky vibes. Like, it feels just creepy as fuck, and I love it so much. London in Terror, I think, is my least favorite off the record. So it's kind of hard to go from Immaculate Misconception to We Only Come Out at Night to then London in Terror, which isn't necessarily a slow song. It's just not as high energy. It just felt like they took it down like a notch. And
that's so weird because to me it feels like a hype song the way that
really?
It goes down vocally and then the chorus soars.
Yeah,
dude, that's so hype to me.
It's maybe I need a 6th or 7th listen because every time I listened to it, every time it came around, I was just like, it just doesn't hold up to me next to Immaculate Misconception and We Only Come Out at Night because both of those songs are hype throughout the entire thing. I think Immaculate Misconception has like one little lull just to kind of make the next part bigger, but just next to the other things, it's like bam, bam, bam. It's I don't know. I think it's still good. I think it's still a great track and still a great 3-4 track run if we're counting Abigail. But yeah, great. Abigail, another great song. It's really cool you said about the Salem witch trials because that shit did interest me as a kid as well, but I just never got into it. I was more into Greek mythology. Me and fucking every other child.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Same here.
So it was one or the other. There are 2 roads that you could go down: the fucking Salem witch trials or Greek mythology, and we went Greek mythology.
Yep.
I think it's a great song, though. I like the little theatrical bits. And that's also another thing that I really like about this record. It has there are string moments. There are very big dramatic moments. And I think that was just also a thing in 2010s metalcore that not many people think about. there was kind of like the normal circle with like Breaking Benjamin, Asking Alexandria, and then you kind of have like the theater metal kids, like Motionless in White, Crown the Empire, and Ice Nine Kills, who are doing like metalcore, but like if like a nerd was in the studio too, and they're like, "Oh, add some strings in there, that's cool." Where it's
Yeah,
like they were almost ahead
you're
of their time.
yeah, you're right with the Fallout. Like that's the definition of theater kid metalcore right there. And I love that
Exactly.
record.
It's fucking awesome. I just think maybe Motionless is kind of in the middle of the two because they never really fully leaned into it, at least with this record, with the theatrics, but there are hints of it.
Mhm.
Where, as you said, it's a product of its time. So they were definitely listening around, heard some strings, heard some theatrics, and said, "Ooh, we could do that would fit really well in this." I think Creatures is an incredible title track. I'm so happy they made that the title track because I think it encapsulates the record perfectly.
Mhm.
Um, Cobwebs I think is good. It's another crazy song. I do like how it starts, but it didn't really like stand out to me.
Mhm.
Because I don't know how it starts. It felt like a lot more like it was gonna be a lot more jarring. But I don't know. I think I wanted like a lot more screams in it. And just because how it starts, it's just like a and then it's like la 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 la. It's like, okay, come on, Chris. Like we'll whip something crazy out. Just to kind of summarize the rest, Count Chocolitis is great. I
Dude.
really like that. One of my favorites off the second half. City Lights, I don't know the story behind it. I did not read the lyrics while listening to it, but it is definitely the slow track off of the record. Um, and one of the only slow, if not the only, like
It's the one,
actual
yeah.
legit slow track on it. Because I don't think you don't count London in Terror. So
I
there you
don't.
go.
I don't.
Yeah. City Lights, slow moment. Happy they put it near the end. Not my favorite off the record, only because I was so used to just fucking getting like fucking knocked in the
Pummeled.
jaw. And then it was just kind of like a, ooh, they're slow and sad here. And I said, oh, okay, that's fine. Um, Puppets of Her Snow is good. Undead Ahead is good. Okay. Scissor Hands, let's talk about it.
Dude, a
Unpack it.
fantastic closer.
Holy shit. Now that I think that is my favorite song off the record. Incredible closer. I think it's fucking massive. Crazy chorus. I I fucking love that song. That song, the opener and the closer alone will get me to revisit this album because of it's so fucking good. I really like Sister Hands. Yeah. So
Hell
that's
yeah.
my review, partially track by track.
Mostly track by track. Yeah. I couldn't go the track by track route because I'd still be talking and we'd be clocking this into 30 minutes before you even said a word. So yeah, with all that being said, I once again really enjoyed the record. Just to mention on City Lights, because you brought it up. I obviously am not always one to go for the slow track, but even if you don't know exactly what the song's about, the way that Chris delivers the vocals is always something that's resonated with me, and more so why I enjoy the song even versus like the sonics or what it's talking about or anything like that. It's just his vocal delivery matches the rest of the record in a weird way. So that is why I've always gravitated towards that song. So I just wanted to note the vocal delivery on that song. Right.
Oh, I just wanted to add, there were a couple tracks on this record that really reminded me of some of Scoring, which was really cool. I don't know if it was the melody on some tracks or just the guitars, but the song specifically was Masterpiece. Something on here sounded like Masterpiece, and it made me go, oh shit. So that's why it's so big, because a lot of the fans are probably like, this sounds like Creatures, so even though it is a slow ass song, that's the fucking slowest song on the record, I'm pretty sure, but it still has that gritty energy, and I really like that a lot. I don't know, I just heard bits and pieces and I went, oh, okay. I hear that they still have the same vibe and energy that they even had on their debut, which I love seeing that shit.
Yeah, they had the vibes. They've had the vibes since day one.
Locked.
But yeah, that's our review of Motionless in White's 2010 album Creatures. I would say we both enjoyed it, so that's good.
I hated it.
Yeah.
As you can tell, right? Yeah.
Next week we'll be chatting about Infamous. I'm very excited to talk about that. Spoiler alert, the next two albums are probably my two favorites from them, so I'm very excited. Maybe all of them are, but I gravitate towards those two records a lot, so I'm very excited to chat about those next. Other than that, you can follow us on Twitter. It's good_noise_cast. Instagram's Good Noise Podcast. Facebook is Good Noise Pod. TikTok is Good Noise Podcast. YouTube, Good Noise Podcast. Patreon is patreon.com/Good Noise Podcast. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. It helps us out a lot. And as you know, we've mentioned multiple times, this is the beginning of the Motionless in White discography dive. So if you're into Motionless in White, subscribe. We'll be dropping a new review every week of each album in the discography until the end, when we revisit Scoring the End of the World. So I have been Shane.
I've been Glory.
And we've been the Good Noise Podcast. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.